It was supposed to be the start of a beautiful new chapter, a union blessed by faith and love. She had dreamed of this day, standing beside her preacher husband, ready to build a life rooted in trust and shared values. But within 24 hours of saying, "I do," everything changed. A shocking discovery shattered her world, leaving her questioning everything she thought she knew about the man she married. What could drive someone to make such a drastic decision so soon after their wedding day? This is a story of love, faith, betrayal, and the unexpected twists that can alter the course of life in a single moment. Stay tuned as we unravel the truth behind this jaw-dropping tale, where the lines between devotion and deception blur, and one woman is forced to make a choice she never imagined. They had met at church, where his sermons drew in crowds, and his words seemed to touch hearts in a way few could. To her, he was more than just a preacher. He was a man of God, someone who lived by the principles he preached. Their courtship had been brief but full of promise, filled with moments that seemed to confirm they were meant to be together. Friends and family celebrated their union, convinced it was a match made in heaven. But as the first day of marriage unfolded, little cracks began to show. She noticed things she hadn't during their whirlwind romance: his guarded demeanor, the strange way he dodged certain questions. It was unsettling, but she brushed it off, wanting to believe she had married the man she thought she knew. Then late that night, a revelation emerged that left her shaken to the core. Something wasn't adding up, and her world began to unravel. As the hours ticked by, her unease grew. Questions swirled in her mind, but every time she tried to bring them up, he dismissed them with vague answers or nervous laughter. Something felt off, but she couldn't quite put her finger on it. They were supposed to be in the glow of newly bliss, yet she felt an unfamiliar distance between them. That night, as they sat together, she decided to confront the tension head-on. "Is there something you're not telling me?" she asked, her voice steady but laced with concern. He hesitated, his eyes darting away for just a moment too long. She noticed his hands fidgeting, a sign she'd never seen before. What he said next wasn't what she expected, but it wasn't the full truth either. Instead, it was an evasive half-answer, one that left her with more questions than before. Deep down, she knew there was something bigger he was hiding. The unease in her heart turned into a quiet storm as the hours passed. She couldn't ignore the nagging feeling that something wasn't right. Every glance he avoided, every awkward pause in their conversation added to her suspicion. She replayed moments from their courtship in her mind, trying to pinpoint signs she might have missed. How could a man who seemed so honest, so grounded in faith, be keeping something from her? That evening, she decided she couldn't wait any longer. While he was out of the room, she searched for anything that might explain the shift in his behavior. Her hands trembled as she opened a drawer and found a small, tucked-away envelope. Inside was something she couldn't have prepared for, something that made her heart race and her stomach sink. When he returned, her face gave away the turmoil she was feeling. "What is this?" she asked, her voice cracking under the weight of her emotions. His expression froze, and for the first time, she saw a look in his eyes that confirmed her fears. His silence was deafening. She held up the envelope, her hands shaking, demanding an explanation. But instead of answering, he turned away, his shoulders slumping as if carrying the weight of a secret too heavy to bear. The room felt charged, the air thick with unspoken truths. She pressed on, her voice rising with a mix of anger and desperation. "You need to tell me what's going on. I deserve to know." Finally, he spoke, but what came out wasn't what she expected. He admitted there was more to his past than he'd shared, something he had buried deeply, hoping it would never come to light. "I thought I could leave it behind," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Before she could process what he meant, her phone buzzed. A message popped up from an unknown number. The words she read sent a chill down her spine, adding a new layer of confusion to the storm already brewing. The message hinted at a secret even bigger than the one he had just confessed, one involving someone else entirely. The room was silent except for the faint hum of the phone in her hand. She stared at the message, her heart pounding in her chest. The words hinted at a truth even more devastating than she could have imagined. "Ask him about the woman before you," it read. She looked up at him, her voice trembling. "Who sent this? What are they talking about?" He froze, the color draining from his face. It was clear he knew exactly what the message meant, and the weight of it was written all over him. After a long pause, he finally confessed. There had been another marriage, a secret one, hidden from everyone, including her. The woman before her had left him under mysterious circumstances, and he had worked hard to bury the truth. But before she could fully process the betrayal, another twist hit. The sender of the message was none other than his former wife, who had uncovered shocking details about his double life. The truth unraveled quickly after that, revealing he had not only lied about his past, but had been living a life far removed from the man of faith he claimed to be. Shaken and heartbroken, she packed her things and left that night, realizing the person she married was a stranger. In the end, she found strength in walking away, knowing she had dodged a life built on deceit. As she walked out into the quiet night, her heart felt heavy, but for the first time in hours, her mind was clear. The love she had felt for him had been real, but so was the pain of betrayal. She realized that trusting someone means seeing their whole truth, not just the parts they choose to share. While his secrets had shattered the foundation of their marriage, they also gave her the courage to stand up for herself and choose a different path. Over the next few weeks, she pieced her life back together, leaning on friends and family for support. Though the experience had shaken her, it also taught her valuable lessons about listening to her instincts and the importance of honesty in any relationship. Her story became one of strength, reminding others that walking away from something broken isn't failure. It's finding the strength to start anew.